Welcome Home, a podcast for veterans about veterans by veterans, is a project of Willing Warriors and the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run.
Good morning. I'm your host, Larry Ziliaks, Director of Culinary Services here at the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run. This week, our guest is Jonathan Tennis. He's an ambassador with the Travis Manion Foundation, and I'm really excited to have him. I know some families that we have hosted here who have been to Travis Manion events and the facility that they have up north there. We'll talk about that. But Jonathan, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Your prior service Army.
I am former intelligence specialist.
And a question that I commonly ask my guests is, why would you join the Army if you could join the Air Force?
I ask myself that question quite a bit. And when people ask me about joining the military today, I encourage them to join whatever branch it is that they feels right in their heart. But I do highly recommend that they consider the Air Force just for quality of life.
It's not as hard. Let's just put it that way. It's not as hard.
I was lucky enough to live on a few Air Force bases. So.
That'll do it. When did you enlist?
I enlisted in 1998. Now you're dating me. So.
Yeah. No. Okay. 98. And how long were you in?
I did 5 years.
Okay. That's not a typical enlistment, though. It's 4, right?
Yeah.
And then you extended for a year?
Well, you could say that. I was involuntarily told that I would be sticking around for a little bit longer. Obviously, the events of 9/11 changed a lot of our worlds. And I was in the Army, set to get out in 2002. 9/11 occurred, and Secretary Rumsfeld at the time said, we're going to need you to stick around a little bit longer. So I was, he enacted stop loss, which for those who have not seen the terrible movie that was made about it, is a policy that forces you to stay in the Army or in the military in general. I remember that first leave and earnings statement I got after stop loss was enacted, and my new ETS date was 2031. And I sort of just chuckled about it and said, hey, whatever, I'll get out when I get out. They lifted stop loss in 2003 after the invasion of Iraq. And it was probably one of the funniest phone calls I ever had because they said, well, you can reenlist and stay here, or you can get out and go home. And I really legitimately thought they were punking me. So my actual tour was 5 years and 3 months was my total time in service.
Yeah. Stop loss was a real morale builder.
It certainly helped with recruitment, I'm sure.
I mean, I get that. You had a real reason to extend, even if it was not at your own volition. Mm-hmm. But I mean, for me, I had a 4-year enlistment, and when they told me I could get out of 4 years and then I have a 2-year reserve commitment, which they could call me back at any time, and I said, no, I'm just going to extend 2 years, spend 6 years, and then you'll never see me again. Mm-hmm. I don't care what happens.
Right.
So I get that. So when did you get out? You got out in 2003?
Fall of 2003.
Yeah. What was that transition like for you?
Terrible, honestly. And, it's one of those things that's funny about the military, in my experience. My NCOs loved me. I was good at the Army. I loved the Army. When I told them I was getting ready to get out, they said, you're going to end up homeless, living underneath a bridge. Mind you, I have a top secret security clearance, highly trained as a Russian linguist, as a signals intelligence analyst. And this is what they were telling me. Now, also, it's hard to remember today when we're talking about this, things like Hiring Our Heroes, all of these transition programs that exist today, 4-block, you name it, those didn't exist back then. And so I was lucky to land a job, but I had a good resume and I felt like I had good qualifications and I was pretty determined. But it took me a couple months. I stumbled a lot, and transition is hard. And I tell that people all the time. I do a lot of work in the transition space today. I grew up in the Army. And when you go from being a kid to being an adult, and that's the only job you've ever had, whether it's 5 years or 25 years, it's hard to take off that uniform. It's hard to find the same level of meaning in the work that you're doing as a civilian. It just doesn't hit the same.
Belonging and purpose.
Huge.
And tribe. Yeah. That's funny because they said the same thing to me when I was getting out in 1983, is that you got to stay in or you're going to be homeless. There's no jobs is what they said. There's no jobs. You can't get a job. I'm like, well, I'll try. I'll see what happens. So when did you get hooked up with Travis Manion Foundation?
So I had known about Travis Manion Foundation as a result of just being familiar with a number of the different veteran service organizations, I would say, became very active when I moved up to Northern Virginia in 2021. Joined the local National Capital Region chapter, started volunteering at their events. And it's one of those things that it just clicked. You mentioned the word tribe a minute ago. And tribe, I think, is really important for us to think about. We all, from thousands of years of evolution, we want to be in community. We need to be in community. We need our tribe. And when you find groups of people that kind of are like-minded or similarly minded and are giving, I think it was really important to me. And so I saw the work that they were doing and I thought, I really dig this. I think I want to do more of this. I joke with them all the time. I tell them, every time you show up to an event, they give you a t-shirt just about, and I laugh about that because I'm like, well, if y'all want me to stop showing up, I guess you can stop feeding me and stop clothing me and I'll quit coming. But that's not true. I'd still come. It's an amazing organization. And I really am honored to be able to be a part of it.
And it's named after Lieutenant Travis Manion.
Correct, who lost his life in Iraq.
Yeah.
And grief's a funny thing. And his mom founded the Travis Manion Foundation to honor his legacy and to give meaning and to make sure that he wouldn't be forgotten. We lost too many people over there. And there isn't a foundation for every one of them. But it is a place to honor the legacy of Travis, as well as Brennan Looney, and also all of the families of the fallen. And so we're made up of inspired civilians, veterans, and families of the fallen. And those three folks come together in a variety of ways to build the community, make the community better.
Well, I mean, you guys do amazing work with families. A couple of programs that I've seen and jumped out at me. One was the Spartan Leadership Program.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of leadership development for veterans, I think, is really important because they have so many skills. And a lot of veterans just don't know how to place those skills and to use the skills that they got in the military and kind of transfer them to the civilian life. What is that Spartan Leadership Program really all about?
Yeah, before I answer about specifically the Spartan Leadership Program, the amount of responsibility that we're given in the military. I was enlisted, and the amount of responsibility in terms of personnel and value of equipment is just incredible. And you really don't see that kind of same level of responsibility when you think about the things that we're giving to an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid, essentially. And so when you have leadership in the military and then you get out of the military, and what's that like, when you're a civilian, when you're a veteran. And so the Spartan Leadership Program is a neat program. I was a part of Cohort 6 2 years ago. I applied for the program because I'd been volunteering with TMF for a little while. It's a 7-month-long program that's meant to help develop Spartan leaders. Spartans are what Travis Manion Foundation calls their overall group of volunteers. It applies to all of them. So if you're a family of fallen, you're a Spartan. If you're a veteran, you're a Spartan. If you're an inspired civilian, you're a Spartan. And it gives us a chance to come together with those different groups of people that make up Travis Manion Foundation and to learn about leadership. I think one of the things that we don't spend enough time talking about is, what does it mean to be a leader? There's all sorts of books written about it, and there are people who have tons of information out there. They claim to be experts at it, but are they spending the time learning about it? And so over the course of those 7 months, spend a lot of time learning about yourself, doing a lot of inner work. And then figuring out the culminating events of it, besides the graduation, is a community impact project.
How does a veteran get signed up for that?
So, I mean, I hate to be so simple and say Google it, but I certainly would love to provide my contact information if you're local to the Northern Virginia, to the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. But honestly, we have chapters located all over the country.
Okay.
If somebody were just to send an email to Travis Manion Foundation, to look up, to sign up, they'll be able to be connected with folks. The Spartan Leadership Program is a very selective program, and it's only for kind of those top volunteers that they have. And the purpose in that is because, again, they're trying to build people into the organization that will help them. As somebody who's familiar with nonprofits, there's only so much work that the staff itself can do.
Okay.
And so you need that army of volunteers that can help you ensure that the work is getting done. Because it's a lot of sweat labor. It's a lot of folks who aren't on the payroll. But that's important because that's how these nonprofits stay in business, stay operational. And they're so important to our veterans.
Yeah, so it sounds like they need to start volunteering with the organization and then sort of work their way up into possibly going through that program. So it's not like you're taking people right off the street into that.
No, typically not. I mean, I was involved in the interview process for the cohort behind ours, which was kind of a neat thing to have just finished. I have since submitted referrals to a couple folks who have applied. Some have gotten in, some haven't. But a lot of recruitment takes place with those of us who have completed the program.
Yeah.
And there are some people who just found out about it and thought, hey, this just sounds like a cool thing to do. And there's others who have been a part of the organization for years. So they do take a mix. They take the interviews very seriously, and they try to provide a cohort, a group of people that they think are going to mesh well. Because you're going to spend a lot of time. You have to dedicate a lot of these classes are virtual. They meet 3 times a year. Once when it starts off, it kicks off in April. Once in the summertime, they meet at a foundation called Big Fish out in Colorado. That's run by Major Brian Chantosh. Goes by Tosh. And then in the fall, they graduate. But one of the things I mentioned about the Community Impact Project, the culminating event sort of after graduation, is that opportunity to go out into your community and provide some impact. I chose to do mine on women veterans. As a male veteran, I feel like, a woman and I could walk into a VFW, a woman veteran, and I could walk into a VFW and American Legion. They'll automatically assume she's my spouse, my friend, my partner, daughter, mother, whatever, but they won't assume she's a veteran. And I was fortunate enough as an intelligence professional to work around a lot of women veterans. So that was what I did. I did it at the Military Women's Memorial there in Arlington, Virginia. It was just an amazing event. I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to do it.
Well, our listeners know about that. I just did an episode with an amazing Army combat medic. She's a physician's assistant now, but she got out and she founded a nonprofit for women veterans called She's the Veteran, because her and her husband would be out. He never served, but they always assumed he was the veteran, and he was, very generous and would say, she's the veteran. We know beyond a doubt, our women veteran, they are underserved on every level. And that's fantastic that you did that. So listeners, while I'm thinking about it, I want to direct your attention to the webpage. It's simple. It's Travis Manion, Manion, travismanion.org. I want you to go to the webpage, take a look. There's plenty of resources there. You know what I'm going to say. You're going to find it right up there in that right-hand corner. Is that donate button. You hover over it. It turns red like you're used to. Bang on it. Give what you can. $5, $10, $1,000. Everything helps. This is a nonprofit that is out there doing amazing work. They are supporting veterans on many different levels and families of fallen veterans. So, please check it out. Spread the word on your social media and, see how you can get involved. Talk about, you guys received the $250,000 Bezos Courage and Civility Award, which was granted by Admiral William McRaven, who, if you don't know who the Admiral is, he's a very well-known Navy SEAL. What was that like? Because that had to have been helpful, that kind of grant.
Yeah, I honestly, as a volunteer leader, I don't know a ton about that award, but I did want to talk a little bit about Admiral McRaven. Incredible. If you haven't read Sea Stories, incredible book. If you don't have time or interest in reading the book, watch the Make Your Bed speech, the commencement address that he gave to the University of Texas. Just an incredible thing, and something that I think it's really funny because I've made my bed every day in my adult life. And I think about it, every day as a way to achieve things. But I think one of the things I would say, even though I don't know a ton about that grant that you just mentioned, these nonprofits, it's easy to say, well, I don't have a ton of time, talent, or treasure. But if you, believe the words of St. Francis, everyone's got a little bit of some of that, right? And where and how you can give is hugely important, because it's just as important to these organizations, the $250,000 grant, as it is the $25 donation, because it takes all of these communities coming together, serving and supporting these organizations. And so it is such an important thing to, like you said, donate, hover over the donate button, donate what you can. Every little bit counts to include this organization. And so grateful to have the opportunity to come and see y'all's facilities.
Well, we can't thank you enough for making the trip out, because I have, I've set up at a lot of tabling events with folks from the Travis Manion Foundation. So I know I run into you guys all the time, and to be able to sit down with somebody from the organization to tell us about the different projects. One is the mission continues. What's that about?
So the Mission Continues was founded. It's funny. One of the quotes I remember so vividly. There was a book called Charlie Mike by Joe Klein, and the very last page is got a quote by Clay Hunt, and it's about donating and volunteering. It's about serving your community. The book talked about the founding of Team Rubicon and the Mission Continues. The Mission Continues they announced last year, actually in 2025. That the Mission Continues was going to be merging with Travis Manion Foundation. Travis Manion Foundation is and they're still working through the details. I don't know a ton about what that integration looks like, but it's neat that they're taking some of the better known programs of the Mission Continues and bringing those into the overall Travis Manion Foundation organization. One of those things was called the mass deployment. This year is the 10th year that mass deployment is taking place. It originally started under TMC. And this year it's going to be hosted in Philadelphia in June. The idea of a mass deployment, which deployment, I know that word kind of can probably bring some veterans, given the heebie-jeebies. Yeah. But this deployment's a little bit easier. You're going to get to stay in a hotel room, but you're going to do your sweating for sure. But it goes into the community, brings a bunch of veterans together to help serve. You know, the idea is bring 100 veterans together, put them to work hard, to be able to make some significant and serious improvement in some of the areas. Last year was in Tampa. Years previously, it was in other cities, I think to include Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. But the Mission Continues, is as far as I understand it, going to be completely, kind of integrated into Travis Manion Foundation, which is honestly a really powerful thing, I think, because those folks who are really into the Mission Continues and those folks who are passionate about serving that community as the Mission Continues, they had found their tribe with TMC. They're going to find a home and a new home with TMF. It's going to be a larger tribe. But it's going to be, I think, a plus up and a great benefit to the TMF organization, because you're getting all these passionate volunteers from parts of the country where TMF may not have as solid a footing.
Well, listeners, again, the webpage is travismanion.org. And that's just a good example why you need to donate, because here is another organization that is looking at Travis Manion Foundation and saying they're so well run and they do such amazing work. We want to be part of them. Mm-hmm. And so if that's not reason enough why you should donate, and I know I say this about every VSO to hit that button and to donate, but really, this is just an awesome organization that's doing wonderful work. Tell us a little bit about how what kind of work the foundation does around the families of the fallen.
Yeah, so I've been lucky enough to, and it's unfortunate that we have so many families of the fallen. Let me say that first. Mm-hmm. When I came home from Iraq in 2003, it wasn't in a flag draped coffin. My father is a Gold Star family member. I don't consider myself there, depending on how the definition, but it's typically just direct, so mother, father, brother, sister, son, daughter, wife or husband. And, the families of the fallen, I've learned a lot about not only, what it was like for Janet. I've read The Knock at the Door, which covered the story of 3 Gold Star wives, or 2 Gold Star wives and 1 Gold Star sister, and what it was like to receive that knock. And so I've learned a ton about them as a result of my work volunteering with TMF. In fact, one of the projects I'm working on right now is through their Operation Legacy. Operation Legacy projects are community projects, and at the beginning or at the end of it, at some point in it, we bring everybody together and we talk to people about what it is that our work was doing. Not just what we were doing, but why we were there, who we're honoring. Mm-hmm. And one of the projects that I've got going on in Baltimore right now on the 3rd Saturday of every month is working at a free bookstore. It's the first free bookstore in America, and they help give books to the underserved communities. And I've been working with the Gold Star family members, specifically through Travis Manion Foundation, to have Operation Legacies every single month, honoring folks who were unfortunately killed in the line of service. The first one honored an SLP cohort classmate of mine, honored her son, Kevin Lehman, who was a Marine who lost his life. and he was an avid reader, and she brought a picture of him, and she brought one of the books that he would read a lot. And at a part of the service project, we gathered together and we talked about what we were doing there. And there weren't a lot of dry eyes when she was finished. We did it again in February with another Gold Star mother. And the plan is to continue to do that every month as a way to honor those families of the fallen. Additionally, there are survivor expeditions, which are specifically designed around Gold Star families and their needs. For the kids, get them out of the house, get them to do something. I think some of them involve hiking. I don't know a ton about them because I haven't been on any of them. But it is an organization that absolutely honors and recognizes the sacrifice of those folks and makes sure that there is a place for Gold Star families in everything that we do.
Well, if you talk to a Gold Star mother or wife, one of the things you come away with is the sense that as best as they can, they've tried to come to terms with their loss. But one of the things that they worry about is that their loved one will be forgotten and that loss will seem to drift away and have been for nothing. And the Travis Manion Foundation really does amazing work to honor their sacrifice and the loss of their loved one in the pursuit of freedom for all of us. That's an amazing, amazing program just in and of itself, one of many that they do. I mean, I can remember I've worn an MIA POW bracelet since 1972, never come off. You got to remember those that not only are friends and relatives, but just service members from your community. Call the VFW, call the American Legion and say, who lives in our community that gave their life in pursuit of our freedom? And thank the family. Bring some flowers. Do something to help. And go to the Travis Manion Foundation webpage and donate.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned POWMIA. I worked at the POWMIA mission as a civilian for about 5 years, and I wear a bracelet as well, a POWMIA bracelet. And the idea of not being forgotten is so key. And it's one of those things that if I could quote a Disney movie, you die twice. Once when you take your last breath, and then once when someone breathes your name for the last time. It is so important to remember these folks. I'm sort of an amateur historian. I have family members buried at Arlington National Cemetery, and when I walk through there, I talk to people. I'm pretty outgoing. I say, there's 400,000 stories here. Learn about them. My great-grandfather, there's a story there. My father will be buried there next year. There's a story there, right? And so I think it's really important to honor those who have served our country, where they're buried, learn stories, and to share and give an opportunity to let folks share those stories. I think when you talk to a Gold Star family member and you let them talk about their loved one, you give them a space and a place to do that. It really is amazing. You learn a lot about these folks and how, yes, the loss is significant, and yes, the loss is forever, but the ways in which that memory, their memory of service and sacrifice can reverberate through, and the good things that can come from that, how they impact, what they do, how their vision in the world, what they do with that pain, and how they've turned it into service. For many of them, it's an opportunity to remember that loved one, but it's also an opportunity to teach others about this person, Travis Manion, Brendan Looney, the names on the fallen heroes. If people do go to the website, there's a way that you can click there's a tab that you can click on to look up fallen heroes, and there are lists of people who have been registered with the Travis Manion Foundation. And my great-grandfather is one of those. My grandfather, is one of those. Who he lost his life in World War II, and so my father grew up without a father, and so I learned long before I ever knew what a Gold Star family member was. I learned what that impact was like, and lived it. And so I think it's one of those things that there's lots of opportunity to give people the chance to talk about their loved ones, and it's really a powerful thing.
Yeah. Well, listeners, again, it's travismanion.org. Check out the webpage, donate what you can, share the webpage link on your social media, send it to your friends and relatives and family. And Jonathan, I can't thank you enough for coming out and sitting down with us and telling us all about Travis Manion Foundation.
I'm very grateful for the opportunity. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Listeners, we'll have another episode next Monday morning at 0500. You have any questions or suggestions, you can reach us at podcast@willingwarriors.org. You can find us on all the major platforms. We're on YouTube and Wreaths Across America Radio. So until then, thanks for listening.
The Welcome Home podcast is brought to you by Willing Warriors, a nonprofit organization serving active duty service members and veterans since 2012. To learn more, please visit our webpage at willingwarriors.org.